so population growth. In the 4.5 billion years that Earth has been barreling aimlessly through space, living things have slowly been popping up more and more. What started off as small itty-bitty microbes in the ocean led to a world population that is 8 billion people literally earlier this month on November 15th. A lot of different things have happened during this time. About 2 million years ago, the species known as Homo erectus, early humans, expanded across Africa and into Eurasia. And then, 1.9 million years later, human speech originated in Northeast Africa. Guess what? Now that human speech has been created, humans have basically expanded into every continent thus far. And that had its own effect on the environment. This established human society, and now the ball has started rolling. Because when you learn to communicate, you get things like business, farming, medicine, law, power, and also war. War is a biggie. Since everyone is interconnected, when a conflict happens, it causes a chain of issues that becomes everyone's problem. When the Mongol Empire, which is the second largest empire in the world ever, was in the middle of exploding, its rapid expansion also helped spread the bubonic plague. That killed 15% of the world's population, which was 75 million people at the time. If the same percentage of deaths happen in today's population, that would equal to 1.2 billion people. This could have happened with COVID. These two diseases are not that different from each other. The reason why it wasn't worse was because of our significant medical advances, as well as communication between other nations. You can actually see that nearly every country in the world closed its borders in April of 2020. Anyways, from what we talked about already, we can actually start jotting these things down on this push and pull chart. War is an obvious push since violence is not exactly attractive. Business, farming, and medicine are good pulls since those typically include a higher standard of living. Law and power go into push since corruption and tyranny is often what it devolves into. This leaves us with a pretty balanced chart equal on both sides, right? You're wrong! This is not a really good representation of how things are in the real world, because even though they are an even number on both sides, they don't actually represent how abundant those things really are. For example, there's very few countries that have advanced medicine, improved farming, and a booming economy. Just like how there's a lot of countries that have corrupt governments and leaderships that usually spark conflicts and wars. All of these things together tip the scale more towards push factors, which sucks a lot. It means that most reasons why people migrate is less because they want to, more like they don't have much of a choice. But why assume when you can just ask? That's why me, Miranda, and Isaac, for some godforsaken reason, went to go interview Mr. Deloach. He's busy. Keep it as one shot because I can just edit it down. And I think this would be funny. Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Are you a video?
Yep.
I'm scared of videos. Is this one of those where you give me the questions ahead of time so I look good? Or is this one of those where you just end it?
This is one of those where I have no clue what I'm doing and we're doing this on the fly.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh boy.
You ready?
No.
You're not ready? You want to hold it? You
Sure.
can hold
Okay. Hi,
it. Hi.
my name is Mr. Deloach.
Oh, I'm being the one interviewed now. Give me the mic. All right. Who are you, and what do you do?
I'm Mr. Deloach, and I am a math and computer science teacher here at New Tech High School.
Cool. Where are you from?
Chicago and then Houston, and then I've lived in DFW for 7 years. 8 years, somewhere around there.
What made you move?
From Chicago to Houston, I moved because my dad took a job as the director of a halfway house. And then I moved to Dallas area for school and work and things like that.
So, how is Houston compared to here? And Chicago too?
Well, Chicago is definitely just tied to a different time of my life. So it's hard for me to really compare them because it's like comparing my childhood and my adulthood more like. But Houston to here, pretty similar. I do like this area more because it's easier to get places. And then also just the air doesn't feel as humid. Not my favorite.
All right. Well, that was all the questions we had today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like, that's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Like you were asking more.
Like what? You have some questions you want to ask?
You can ask me another question, that's fine.
Mister, do you
Hi.
mind going in depth about like your experience moving around or what you know from moving and like what you experienced?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, when I was a kid moving from Chicago to Houston, I didn't really have any choice in that. So, yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that I just accepted. It was hard to, you're just meeting all new people and you don't have any choice in it. When I had moved around, I've moved around DFW several times, and that's kind of all been more by choice. And I think that's been a lot easier, because when you have control over your moving, it feels more like you, I don't know, it feels more positive as an experience because you're the one choosing it. But when you're being forced to move, it's not super exciting, and especially the harder the situation is that's forcing you to move.
Were there any reasons why you moved, like education, jobs, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Chicago to Houston was for my dad's job, being asked to run that halfway house. And it was, at that time, the only halfway house in the country, or even the world, for deaf men. So he had run that for a handful of years. And then, so that was for work. And then moving to Dallas and around Dallas has been for work or school.
And final thing.
Final
Is there
thing.
anything you would like anything to tell us about it, or just leave us with something?
That's a harder question.
Come on, it's fine. We can
Oh,
flip it.
no, we can clip it. Jeez.
We have the technology.
We have the technology. Yeah, I mean, I think that what I had said about moving, especially like in a broader scope, because yours is about migration. Yeah, so moving is going to be a lot more of a positive experience when you feel like you have the agency for it and it was your choice. And generally, it's a much scarier thing if you feel like it's out of necessity or you're being forced to.
Is that it? Is that all you wanted? Is that all the questions for you?
Isaac, what about you? Questions?
Me?
You have any questions?
It is an interesting fact that we learned sign language. Was that
Yeah.
a difficult task, or?
I mean, that was just like when I was a kid. That's like if your parents speak Spanish, then you kind of just pick up Spanish. It's just that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I have a really, really good joke, but Mario, you have to start it, okay? It's a knock-knock joke. Can you
Okay.
start it?
Yes. Knock knock.
Who's there?